We're here with Jeff Dale. Jeff Dale here is a candidate on the Democratic side for Mercer County Sheriff. Jeff, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name's Jeff Dale. I'm 54 years of age. I've worked for the Sheriff's Office for 25 years, May 1st, so nearly 25 years. I've worked in every capacity at the Sheriff's Department. I started in 1989 as a part-time correctional officer. Then I was hired full-time. Then I was sent to PTI for corrections in 1990, and I was kind of proud to say the first graduate of PTI for corrections to get a state certification in corrections for Mercer County.
And you're running for sheriff, so we need to know a little bit how you feel the sheriff's position entails, what that entails, and how you're going to be able to meet that.
Okay. The Sheriff's Office, I think, encompasses many aspects of law enforcement. A lot of it's budgetary concerns, oversight of the department. I feel I have a great deal of experience in that area, Jim. I was transferred. I used to call it promotion, but as we're all professionals now at the Sheriff's Office, we all have professional certifications. We all take great pride in that. I actually was transferred from corrections to patrol in 1990 also, and then I graduated from PTI for law enforcement in 1991. And since then, I've worked as a patrol officer. I handled the K-9 unit for a brief period of time. I was a liaison officer for the Mercer-Henry County Drug Task Force between our agency and that task force. So I had experience in that. Then I was transferred into investigation for many years. At one point in time, I was promoted to chief of, they called us detectives. At that point, I was chief of detectives. During that, I was in charge of the oversight of the jail operations on a daily basis and helped the jail administrator make sure that everything was going correctly and help administrate his department. Then after that, I was, upon John Weekly's retirement, Sheriff Thompson appointed me as Chief Deputy for the Sheriff's Office. That encompassed, Jim, me being in charge of the daily operations of the whole Sheriff's Department organizational structure, from maintenance staff to lead supervision, the Chief of Corrections in the Patrol Division, and I was again in charge of both the detectives at that time.
All right. So obviously, there's a lot of things you're going to have to do being a sheriff, and it isn't just overseeing. It's going to be dealing with paperwork and and the association with other departments, shall we say. You're going to be having to deal with a situation that everybody's talking about, and that is the jail. Everybody's favorite topic in Mercer County. Could you give us a brief history as to what happened there as far as our getting in your eyes, and how you feel you're going to be able to handle that situation?
I was on initially, when that was brought up, I was a detective at that time, and I was informed that I'd been attending county board meetings and the law enforcement committee meetings for a period of time. And I want to go on record as saying, Jim, right up front, that at no time did Sheriff Tom Thompson or any staff member of the Mercer County Sheriff's Office ask anybody to build a jail. That was something the county board came to us and said, we've been housing foreign inmates for years, and they saw the revenue base coming from that, and they needed more revenue and felt that that was an option for them that would be a viable option for them to do that. As the planning stages went along, it was way in the far into the planning stages when I was asked to get more involved in it. And we was kind of under the 8 ball from the start. Somehow they determined we was going to have 4 correctional officers. Additional staff is all that we actually needed for that. That was not a good assumption. We were way understaffed back there. But once again, they started that process. The jail was built. Some people have said things like it's not working, it's failed. They said, I've heard things said that if something never worked, it can never be successful. All I can tell you, Jim, is factually is last year the Sheriff's Department, through the jail, generated all total about $1.4 million. Our total budget was a little over $2.2 million. So simple math tells us there's $800,000 left, and when I started working back in 1989, that's not a whole lot less. We had a smaller budget at that time, but it wasn't greatly reduced from that. So for law enforcement, for bang for your buck with inflation and things, it's been relatively, has not raised with inflation in my opinion. Some of the things we do that, getting back to the sheriff's position, I feel is my strong suit is organizational structure and management. We've got to get the employees we need. We've done cross-training with our employees, so that helps us. We have now sent people that's in telecommunications to correctional school, have them state certified, so we can rotate them into the jail when we need to at peak hours. State recommends that we should have about double the amount of staff that we have back in the jail, and we've managed to make that work. We've managed to be successful. We have income flowing through fairly regularly. Last year, when I told you we made almost $1.4 million, we need to remember that there was issues with the Cook County agreement, intergovernmental agreement. We wanted to have that up and running, and we would love to have that January 1st, but things take time. And unfortunately, we did not until mid-May start getting inmates from Cook County. Also, we had been working on a per diem increase with the United States Marshal Service. We did not advertise that to everybody because we've been in difficult times in Mercer County. Nobody realized that I do as well as everybody else does, Jim. But the only thing is, we can't tell everybody what we're doing sometimes, because it's just like they're asking you daily or sometimes multiple times a day, hey, have we got this done yet? And sometimes you just can't force those issues. You know, when you're into agreements and contracts, we have to work with them and kind of go on their time sometimes. And past trends has shown during the winter times a lot because of cold weather, things like that. Sometimes certain types of crimes are down and activity is down. This winter we've had a period of time where we was a little short on Cook County inmates. As a matter of fact, for a while we had none. But Cook County can't justify paying us $50 a day to house their inmates if they have empty beds in a Cook County jail. It's just not fiscally responsible on their part. But we've also had them return. I've heard the gloom and doom that Cook County was done. They were no longer going to house with us. And that is not true. They've, like I said, they've brought inmates back already. And when their crime time whether it's peak service hits for them and they need service, unless something happens unforeseen, I would assume that things are going to pick up business as usual again, and we're going to be back into the revenue business again.
Well, and you talking about budget, and of course, this hand in hand with jail. Everything's all about budget.
Correct.
And also the concern that the community has about protection for them. So you're going to be dealing with a board that has at least a fair portion of them a concern about budget, and over perhaps maybe you can claim safety of the community, or maybe 50-50, however you want to look at it. How do we assure or reassure our citizens that we're going to be able to take care of that problem when you become sheriff?
My focus, Jim, is going to be we're going to have to be a little more proactive on the law enforcement end. Some of the issues we've had recently is we had received grants to do roadside safety checks, things like that, which generates revenue because there's a lot of citations and things written on that. Under my watch, I don't believe we want a community that's out. My patrol staff, or even myself in my car, we can go out and write countless tickets every day on US 67, but I don't know that we want to be, and I wouldn't feel comfortable with a department that would be writing people 2, 3, 4 mile an hour over to generate revenue. That's, to me, not what law enforcement's about.